Hi, my name's Josh, and I'd love to talk to you today about how we can live a life that has sacrifice with value. 2 Samuel 24:20-25 says, Araunah looked up and saw David and his men coming his way. He met them bowing deeply, honoring the king and saying, "Why has he, my master the king, come to see me? To buy your threshing floor," said David, "so I can build an altar to God here and put an end to this disaster." "Oh," said Araunah, "let my master the king take and sacrifice whatever he wants. Look, here's an ox for the burnt offering, and threshing paddles and ox yokes for fuel." Araunah gives it all to the king, and may God your God act in your favor. But the king said to Araunah, "No, I've got to buy it from you for a good price. I'm not going to offer God my God sacrifices that are no sacrifice." David is so adamant that his offering to God has to be a sacrifice that he is unwilling to let anything or anyone, any position of power get in the way of that. As soon as the reality of David's comments and actions hit us and make sense, my first thought is wondering why I'd never fully grasped that before. Maybe I just didn't really want to be held accountable to true sacrifice. A lot of us give our time to the church, sacrificing family time and personal relationships along the way. Beyond this though, beyond the physical sacrifices we make, there are also financial sacrifices that are required of us. David was the king. He could have whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted it. But when it came to his offering, his sacrifice to God, he was unwilling to give something that cost him nothing. He tells Araunah, when offered both a free sacrifice and free tools, that he must pay for it, as he cannot give God something that cost him nothing. At one of my previous churches, my worship pastor would constantly poke at me and joke for not changing my guitar strings anywhere near enough. He would joke around and mock my dull-sounding Taylor guitar compared to his rich-sounding Martin guitar, and I would just laugh along. What was really happening though is that I was getting frustrated. I would think, does he not know that I can't afford to change my strings this regularly? Does he even know what my monthly budget looks like? The answer, of course, is no. He had no idea what my personal finances looked like, but he did know that my sacrifice was costing me very little. The reality is, every time I grabbed a fast food dinner before rehearsal on a Thursday night, I was putting that above my sacrifice to God. Reality is, my sacrifice was costing me nothing. I'm sure I'm not alone here. The life that God's called us to as worshipers is an expensive one. It requires of us our time, our energy, and our money. Even though most of us regularly fail in these areas, there is opportunity. Today can be the day that we set a new precedent in our lives. Today can be the day that we no longer wake up and go through the servant motions, but rather the day we decide to begin each day asking, what can I sacrifice today? The Bible is full of examples of people who in the midst of mockery sacrificed for God. From a small boy who decided he would give up his lunch of 5 loaves and 2 fishes to a fully grown woman who spent a year's wages on perfume just to break it open and wash Jesus' feet. Although we don't have the same opportunities to bring a sacrifice to God as they did, we do still have the opportunity. We can pay for someone's dinner. We can put gas in a team member's car. We can treat everyone to coffee or even pay for new strings on our guitar. All of these things will cost us something, and that's exciting. There shouldn't be a single day that we go without finding at least one thing we can sacrifice to God. Worship is a lifestyle, and so our lives get to be centered around sacrifice. From days of small physical sacrifice to days of great financial sacrifice, we get to live every day as an opportunity to worship God in the same way David did when he steadfastly refused to give God something that cost him nothing.